Hello everyone, this is Latino Gamer, bringing you my review of No More Heroes by Ubisoft.
Let me say this right away. No More Heroes is rated M and for good reason. This game involves the main character decapitating hordes of villains and includes scenes with female characters in bikinis. This game is not intended for younger gamers. If you're uncomfortable with your children watching Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill movies, then you probably won't want them to play this game. And hey, I've already reviewed 4 games that are perfectly suitable for younger gamers, so why not show you all something different, right? Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's move on. No More Heroes is a freaking masterpiece. It's like playing through Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill movies, and Kill Bill is awesome! While I do enjoy a lot of different games, there's only a handful I would call true masterpieces. If you own a Wii and are mature enough to handle the violent and sexual themes, then I'm telling you right now, you should go buy this game. However, maybe some convincing is in order. Fair enough. No More Heroes tells the story of Travis Touchdown, a young man living in the city of Santa Destroy, at the cheap motel named No More Heroes. Although the character can be quite shallow at times, he's surprisingly likable. The guy watches movies and plays video games.
Just like me!
He travels everywhere on his two-wheeler.
Just like me!
He collects trading cards.
Just like me!
He plays with his pet.
Just like me!
And he makes a living killing dozens and dozens of people for money. As the game begins, Travis has just completed an assassination gig and is approached by Sylvia of the United Assassins Association, who informs Travis that he is now officially the 11th best assassin in the world. She then tells Travis that he should go after the top 10 assassins so he can be crowned the best. Obviously, a little flirting on Sylvia's part is all it takes for Travis to be convinced that going after the 10 most dangerous people alive is a good idea. You begin hot on the trail of Death Metal, the number 10 assassin. After defeating him, the rest of the game follows a simple pattern. You earn money until you have enough to unlock the next ranked battle. You go back to your motel and get a message informing you where to find the next assassin. You travel there, you fight off the underlings, fight the assassin, and rise in rank. Wash, rinse, repeat. So far, this sounds like a pretty repetitive game, but it shines in the most important aspect of any game, the gameplay. Sure, if this game had been on the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, it could have had high-definition graphics, but the ingenious use of the Wiimote and Nunchuk combo motion controls are what makes this game so much fun. You move with the analog stick on the Nunchuk. Pressing the A button repeatedly performs your standard combo with your lightsaber, beam katana. When you're about to finish off an opponent, an arrow appears on screen, and you swing the Wiimote in the given direction to slice off the enemy's head. Sometimes, nearby enemies will also lose their heads, meaning free kills for you. This causes blood and money to come gushing forth from the fallen enemies' necks. Reminds me of comedian Blair Butler's description of Resident Evil 4 at GameTrailers.com.
And their heads explode, and it's a celebration, it's a fantasy of light and color.
You use the B trigger to kick enemies, which can stun them. When you see birdies flying around someone's head, you'll be prompted to press B again to grab them. 2 arrows will appear on screen at once, and you swing your Wiimote and Nunchuk in the given directions to perform a Lucha Libre move on the enemy. When you get up, if you're standing above the fallen enemy, you can press A to stab your katana straight down, finishing them off. When performing your katana combo against an enemy with a sword, you might enter a sword clash. The screen will show you which way to rotate your Wiimote in order to win the clash. The Z button on the Nunchuk allows you to block and lock onto a target, similar to the Z targeting in Ocarina of Time. While Z targeting, you can also press left, right, or back on the Wiimote's D-pad to row in that direction. This is incredibly useful against large groups and absolutely necessary for avoiding unblockable attacks. Your health is displayed as pixels in a heart at the top left corner of the screen. The gauge at the right side of the screen displays the battery life of your katana. When you want to recharge, you press the 1 button and shake your Wiimote left and right. During the game, you can find items called Lavakov balls lying around. Each time you collect 7, you can take them to Lavakov in order to learn a new technique. One allows you to sprint with the B trigger, which is great for the non-combat parts of the game. My favorite technique allows you to lunge at your enemies and strike them by swinging the nunchuck forward. As this takes down most enemies, you can follow up by stabbing them with the A button. You can also find boxes that contain money, trading cards, or replenish your health or battery. When fighting a large group of enemies, you'll notice that every time you kill one, slots appear at the bottom of the screen. When these hit correctly, you get Travis Limit Break, Dark Side mode. The screen will go dark and you'll temporarily become invincible and be able to kill most enemies with one hit. Depending on what slots land, this may mean your attacks immediately dispatching your enemies or on-screen prompts telling you which buttons to press in order to kill another henchman. Since this only activates after a kill, it won't help you in boss fights, since they're one-on-one. No More Heroes has the same open environment feel as Grand Theft Auto, but you can only visit certain places and more open up as you progress through the game. Once the gym opens, you'll want to visit before every fight, since it's one of the few ways you can level up your attributes. By performing little exercises with the Wiimote and Nunchuck, you lengthen your katana combo and slightly raise your strength and health. The video store lets you buy wrestling videos that you can watch back at the motel to learn a new wrestling technique. You can also visit Naomi, who sells better beam katanas as well as accessories for them. There's also a clothing store, but seeing as clothes don't affect Travis' attributes, the only reason to go there is if you're tired of the clothing he's wearing. Save your money for the upgraded beam katanas. Speaking of money, there are a few different ways to earn it. At first, some part-time jobs will be available at the job center. Again, each of these involves performing some amusing task with the motion controls. If you do well enough at a job, an assassination gig will be unlocked. These are much higher paying and, obviously, involve you going elsewhere with your beam katana and killing a certain amount of people. These can get creative too though. Sometimes you only need to kill a particular person out of a large group. You can only use certain attacks, or you fight with the screen upside down. Seriously. On top of these, there are also the much more difficult free fight missions. These optional missions are similar to some others, but you begin them with only a single pixel of health. Needless to say, it can get quite frustrating when you're doing very well and have slaughtered most of the enemies, only to lose by getting hit with a stray bullet, or because someone ran up to you and tapped you ever so slightly with their foot. Fortunately, none of these are required and they don't even pay as well as the best assassination gigs. The story is really something else. Honestly, Travis himself sums it up best when the game begins.
I want to be #1. How's that? Short and simple enough for you? It's gonna be a long, hard road.
If I worked for a video gaming magazine, my critic's quote would be, "No More Heroes is the most hilariously self-aware game since Metal Gear Solid." Honestly, I think Santa Destroy suffers from a syndrome known as having no fourth wall. This reminds me of the Metal Gear Solid games, but unlike the solemn overtones in that series, this game simply doesn't take itself seriously. And in this case, that equals more fun for you. There's a lot more I could say about the story and game mechanics of No More Heroes, but I think I've spoiled enough things. Go out and play this game. To quote Yahtzee of Zero Punctuation, as flawed as it is, get it anyways because you will never experience anything else like it.
Thank you for listening and happy gaming.
Time for a bonus tip. There's a secret technique known as the dark step. Whenever you're blocking someone's attacks with the Z button, rapidly move the analog stick left and right at the same time. If your timing is right, Travis will sidestep and the screen will go dark. This gives you a couple seconds to wail on your enemy while they're standing still. This should be a great help for those boss fights.